Greetings, Hallowmaniacs. It's Steph and Joe, and today's adventure takes us all the way to a flea market at the Greenmead Historical Park located in Livonia, Michigan. This is our first time hunting for Halloween goodies here, but we wanted to take you along on the ride with us. So come along and let's see what we can find.
All right, so this is our first time at Greenmead in Livonia, Michigan. And this was really cool. This is a pretty big plot of land. There's quite a bit of space here. Steph, what did you think about this line going into the flea market?
I've never seen a flea market line. I mean, it probably had to be, when we put the arrows, like the entrance was all the way over there. The line continued afterwards. It was probably like 3/4 of a line of people just waiting to get in, but it did move really fast. So this is on a historical park. They have gardens, historical buildings. It costs $3 to get into the flea market itself. And they do this, I think, a couple times per year.
Yeah, I believe there was supposed to be like 160 vendors, and there was definitely quite a bit of stuff to look through here.
And we were searching for those Halloween finds, and we first found this vintage cool glass here. The only bad part, and $3 was not bad at all, but I was hoping there would be maybe another one with it.
Yeah, so the search kind of continued. We kind of went to see what else we could find Halloween related. And luckily, you know, we did find some other stuff throughout the course of the day, which is pretty cool. So that definitely got us in that Halloween mode and excited to see what other treasures we could find.
Next up, we found a vendor that had a bunch of miniature figures. And I love that tree one right there. But as well as a really cool 1960s Bay Shore blow mold that you'll see here in a second. And this vendor was really nice. He has a lot with the local projects and different movies that they've created. And we'll show you kind of a little bit here to tell you a little bit more about the local projects that he's working on. So this is really cool.
Every single big horror magazine. That's the new movie.
Okay,
it's
awesome.
the most famous artist there is for horror movie posters.
Yeah.
Shag Ratty's from Detroit. So yeah, our DVDs, the Blu-ray got released by a huge company, but they come with vomit bags. It's all filmed in Detroit, but it's no CGI. It's all practical effects. So
cool.
yeah, and the guys Rebecca Tum isn't one of the best in the world.
Yes. Nice. Well, awesome. It's great to see local, and we love all the horror
no train
genre.
station in our movie.
No.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Yeah, so he was really cool. Kind of told us a little bit more about his booth, but we moved on and we found this really cool cat coming out of a pumpkin here. That was unique. And then this vendor here had a lot of different creations of his own.
Yeah, this guy made all his own stuff, which was super, super cool. And if you have, you know, local haunts or things that you need for props or just to kind of decorate your front or backyard, this guy had a lot of really cool stuff, I thought.
I like those two, that dummies, like kind of you see the little guys right down there. It reminded me of They Live. That movie.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cool. I love the neon color scheme. It was just very creative.
Yeah, for sure. And we only saw kind of a fraction of what he had. It looked like he had a trailer with some other stuff in there. So I wish he had it set up a little bit differently to kind of display it. But it was some pretty cool stuff, the stuff we did see.
Yeah, I think he was kind of in the midst of setting up, like Joe said. So hopefully, but I mean, it was unique things. Look at that animatronic.
That's
right
awesome,
there.
man. That's super cool. Neon green skull. I mean, definitely pops and stands out at you. And man, some haunt creators, I'm sure, would love to add that stuff to their display.
Yeah, there's so much to look at. I love this vintage witch, this paper magic group. You know, I think it came out in the 2000s, and we found one, Joe and I, at a antique shop down in Tennessee last year. And yeah, I was like, oh, I love this. It's a familiar face. And speaking of familiar things, anybody love the Addams Family? Because I'm going to show you one of this cool little cousin animatronics that's going to come up. It didn't work as far as like moving side to side, but it was cool. It had all the audio with it. So if you remember the theme, Joe, are you going to sing it?
I might just get into it. You never know.
Here it is. Check it out.
These work to make them all.
They're creepy and they're kooky.
Mysterious and spooky.
But moving on, we saw some really cool vinyl records there. I'd never seen one for Rosemary's Baby, and that is a creepy movie. Have you ever watched
sure
that?
Is.
That is really creepy. But they had some really cool, unique vinyl records.
It's really hard to find like vinyl records that are like either, horror movies or Halloween related. I think they're super tough. You find them every now and then, but when you do, you got to grab onto them and take them home.
Look at The Exorcist.
Yeah, that's definitely a classic horror film.
That's even creepier than I think Rosemary's Baby.
Absolutely.
Yeah, those classic 1970s and Masters of the Universe.
That's
cool.
super cool. Skeletor.
I like Skeletor.
King Kong, that's a cool one too, yeah.
You just need Godzilla.
Yeah, I know, right?
Joe found an interesting fact. Wasn't it that Godzilla was like the most...
highest grossing horror film or kind of series of horror films in terms of the commercial franchise. Yeah, I believe we had that as a trivia question in a Halloween game or a Halloween trivia game.
Yeah, so. It's one that I never would have expected.
That's your fun fact for the day or for the video.
But here we found some cool vintage tablecloths, and it's all about, again, I love the vintage, the retro, the 90s, the 80s. That's when we were kids, and that's when Halloween
Everyone's got their thing, and vintage is ours, so
yes.
It is what it is.
These are not technically Halloween, but I thought they would look awesome in a Halloween room. If those green vases, they're a little bit, I think, priced at $40 each. I don't think it was $40 for the pair, but, again, I'm not all into where I know a lot of my glass works. So it probably was a good deal on them, but they were cool. I love that green color. And look at this, dripping blood window lights.
Ooh.
I don't know what they were priced at on here, but I can tell you they were original, I think, Kmart product. So,
we did not purchase them, so there will be no dripping blood from our windows this Halloween.
But it's cool. Those lights, have come back in style. And Orange Alert. There was a ton of different kind of miscellaneous little Halloween figures and pumpkins. And you see that one scarecrow, the pumpkin. I've always seen it at the Dollar Tree. And I love that guy. I don't know what it is, like the little pumpkin scarecrow. That little jack-o'-lantern face.
And I'll make my plug for Michigan, man. This was end of May, and Halloween and Orange Alert was in full force. So Michigan is definitely a state that loves its Halloween, and just a great place to visit in the fall.
Yeah, and I love those lanterns. I mean, I see things here. Look at a Joker.
Yeah. He's
a classic villain. Sometimes it's not necessarily true Halloween, but these things all add up to Halloween.
Absolutely.
This vendor was it was so sweet. She had a ton of different crafts, and it was like every holiday it was all food themed. So you saw the little jack-o'-lantern popsicles, here's cupcake holders. There was so much things to look and see, and love the owl, and it's all hand painted and created, and yeah, what a cool thing to do.
It takes a ton of time to do these things too, and these were really nice.
And people were loving it too. I saw a lot of people going in, buying things, and you'll see here in a second, there was some really cool Halloween candles that she had here. So that was, I think, a different kind of
She was a wheelin' and a dealin'.
You like that, don't you?
I do.
Clever line. And then moving on, this was I love those light up pumpkins. I think this was $3 or $4 that we found, but it was a different take. It looks like, I want to say someone did this themselves. It was an orange pumpkin and then kind of put the black stripes.
Maybe it's like the Rambo of pumpkins. It's got the war paint, the black war paint on.
It does.
I don't know what they were going for with that, but it was definitely different.
It was. And this was just something I think would look awesome in a scene. It was for $30, that big antique trunk.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
But this was cool, just walking around it's a historical park. I think there was multitude of buildings, a garden, so it was just neat. We'd never been here before.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely be doing it again too. We'll definitely check it out.
I like this, a uranium glass. I'll sometimes feature this in different videos when we go to antique stores, and I think it can be, if you had that black light, it'll just light up, and that would be a really cool thing to have in a Halloween themed room.
Gives off that spooky, mystical aura for sure.
If you've ever been to Disney World and they have that ride Tower of Terror, this kind of reminds me of something that they would have in there, is that uranium glass kind of lit up there.
Absolutely.
This was a cute thing they had. It was like little, I want to say it looked like a pumpkin gourds.
Yeah.
Maybe that they kind of put out and cut out and had, you could tell those ghosts coming out of the pumpkins. At first I looked at it, I go, what is a bowling pin doing here? Because it looks like one.
Definitely looks like it, no doubt about it.
But it's all hand painted, and it was just very unique. And I like how it had like kind of the pumpkin with the different kind of ghost faces. They all were different in their own way. And I'm a sucker for these hand
Oh,
crocheted
yes,
items.
you are. You love the hand crocheted stuff.
We found one last year, and it's something I can tell you is going to come out every year for fall for us.
Absolutely.
It's got those classic, those browns, yellows, and I love this. It was, oh.
Look at this guy.
This I don't
Pennywise door wreath. That's pretty different.
Yeah, it is creative. It's I don't know. It is just Pennywise is creepy, especially the original.
Yeah, I told Steph if it was the classic Tim Curry Pennywise, I totally would have scooped it up. That one was still cool, but man, like that classic Pennywise, that would have been a sale.
This is a really cool glass figure. The owls, I think owls are cool. They are definitely a fall. I mean, they're around all year, obviously, but what a cool thing.
Wise and majestic.
Ooh.
They're a real hoot, aren't they?
We got a comedian here. Something about clowns. I don't know what it is, but they always can be creepy.
Sure can.
Clowning around. And those two photos, $15 each. Not bad. Kind of that vintage clown. Here were some two different kind of unique mugs. I think $3 priced for each one.
Look at the ghost soap dispenser.
Yeah, spooky. And then here, a bowl for all your needs.
There you go. I think that was a little bit more modern, but it was cool.
Yeah, it's creative. I like the ghost and the candy corn on it, kind of going around the border here. Wouldn't that look cool if you had a bunch of candy in it for trick-or-treaters? This was, I'm sure, a ton of little 90s boys.
Goosebumps.
Yeah.
Slappy.
It was an old bed, like, kind of bed set. And
that's cool.
Had Slappy. Did you have that when you were growing up? Because you like Goosebumps.
Not the bed set, but I did love Slappy.
Well, yeah. I remember I had, as a little girl, I had a Little Mermaid one, but I would have liked that too. Here was a lot of different Goosebumps VHS, and this was some kind of hand-holding game. They said it worked, and the audio was a little bit kind of wonky on it, but I thought this was kind of neat. So I don't know how you play this. It looks like it's a haunted headstone game. I don't know, maybe if you had to hit it, if it's like a Simon Says type thing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, though.
Very colorful. And that's the thing with R.L. Stine. I think Goosebumps, it was always those colors that drew you in.
Absolutely. Ooh, classic Frankenstein.
It's a puzzle.
That's cool.
Yeah, kind of neat. $12. And, yeah, I think it would be cool to have the Bride of Frankenstein there.
That would be cool. Have the dynamic duo.
That's right. This is more of a modern find. It's a light-up pumpkin and kind of, I don't know, it'd be a fiber optic, but those, you know how they have different decorations and different holiday ones. And this is a cool 1980s Hallmark pin. I think it was 1983. And then this vendor had a lot of different little things here, different kind of pins. And I actually saw a really cool thing of tarot cards. And I thought it would go with my witch theme. And I inquired, and I think they're very rare ones. Of course, I have a knack for picking the very rare ones.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a sticker shock at what she said that it was going for.
Exactly. But, you know, again, the rarity, and that's not something that's in our familiar zone. But we will show you here in a little bit what we ended up taking home. These were really creative, these crafty signs here. But, yeah. Joe, what do you think about? Let's get into the recap.
Absolutely. Sounds good. Always happy to kind of recap what we bought. Always looking to add. And, again, it just amazes me how much cool stuff we found so far.
All right, guys. So we are home, and this is our first time visiting this flea market. Joe, what did you think?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it was super, super busy. It was a line. It seemed like a mile long just to get in. It was $3 admission per person. Supposedly 160 plus vendors. It was just crowded.
I've never, in my whole life, you know, going to different flea markets, and I've never seen a flea market with a line that long. I told Joe, I go, at the events, from 10 to 4, we were almost, I swear, probably a half mile to 3/4 of a mile back.
Yeah,
and I was like, it's going to be 4 before the time we get in, because you had to pay admission. So, but luckily it all worked out, and it was a great event. It was very crowded, but we got some good deals and good finds.
For sure.
And this is our first one here. So it's a Bayshore blow mold. It's such a classic design. You have the big jack-o'-lantern head here and on the little kitty cat. So that's adorable.
I think we paid $35 for this, and then
$35, and you'll see too. So the vendor, we were chit-chatting a little bit, and he threw in actually the next find for free. So it was like $35 for all of this. This and the next items that we'll show you. All right. So, and you can tell too from the last video that we did at Midland Flea Market, I got this crochet. So I kind of found like a nice little fall themed placemat to show off these items. I'm loving it here. I love this. But this was included free in the last purchase with the Bayshore blow mold. And these, I was kind of doing a little bit of research. I think they're from probably maybe the 90s, but it was a craft, like kind of paint it yourself. Maybe it was something that was at Michael's or craft store. You would get these figures here, these plastered figures, and then paint your own colors on them and make it a cool crafting. This was definitely, that was a great purchase. It will look great. I think I could even do something with it potentially in our miniature village this year. It's funny because when you do the miniature villages, you have different distance, size, perspective. Like I think the Limax figures are they're relatively smaller. Then you have some Department 56, which could be a little bit larger, or Pumpkin Hollow. So, you know, it's great if you have a nice setup. You can kind of put some buildings in the back and have that depth, distance kind of
play with that perspective.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Joe, helping me out there. But yeah, these will look great. We'll find the perfect home for them. All right, and the last find of the day was a special purchase. It's going to go towards our theming of this year with kind of our witchy theme, and I want to have some older books kind of on the bookshelf, and I started to collect it, and here was one. It kind of just, you see, it's from 1925. It's Tombs of Gold, and Don Sturdy, Tombs of Gold, I should say, but look at, it's just so cool looking. I love the look of old books, and especially if you can get them all on a bookshelf and kind of have them together, and what better way, Joe, than to have a little bit of a spooky theme. So I think we have a different one that says Wolfville. So I'm new with collecting some of these, but yeah, this is going to look great on the bookshelf, and the hunt is on. And thank you, Dee Dee, for purchasing this for us. So
the hunt is always on.
We had a great time at the flea market. I think that's going to do it for this video here, but yeah, would you go again?
Absolutely. I look forward to the next one. I think they do it a couple times every year, and I will definitely be there.
All right, guys. So thank you again for watching, and to remember,
stay spooky.
Trick or treat.